Anyway, well, we can let's get started. I'll take notes and write it up later. So the goal of this week, I guess, is to do a redesign of our current task creation and authoring interface. There's definitely some things that are working really well right now, and some other things that we want to improve. It's kind of hard for users to figure out. And I think for this meeting, our goal should probably just be to get some ideas brainstorming, like identify concretely what we really want to keep, what we really like, and then what's missing. And then from there, maybe we'll go into letting people sketch things out between Tuesday and Wednesday, and we can try to synthesize the different ideas that everyone has. How does that sound to people?
Yeah.
Sound okay? Cool. So people that have had experience with the task authoring interface, you guys want to start off this conversation? I know a lot of you are making a big push during the TIE deadline to author hundreds of tasks. What were your experiences?
Well, I have a lot of problems. I think I jot down in the PowerPoint and made, you can see, just post it in the meeting channel. First,
Okay.
First, I'll explain my problems what I had when I was authoring, the task. First of all, now prototyping tasks. I go to description. I'm reading the slide 3.
Yeah, we see.
Let's start from there. Slide 3. The description. You go with the first description and then prototype task, right? And in the prototype task, you will be asked to provide a description again. So that's kind of weird because you started with a description and again you are starting a description.
Sure.
So I was thinking that those two can combine as one, so that a smaller part of prototype task can be explained, like slide number 5, prototype task description. So the whole thing comes at one.
Sure. Maybe let's focus on the number 4, like the design actual part right now. I think we've spent some time on the other parts, and we can definitely keep refining that as we go. But I think this is the big issue with the drag and drop.
Okay, then the drag and drop one, slide 6. When the design panel got very longer, it's really hard to drop the the labels and the checkboxes because it has to go all the way down and we can't see. And one of the occasions that I failed was to implement slide number 7, where you had to have 2 pictures in the same level to have a comparison. So in this panel, it was difficult because it always comes one after the other.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely something we need to work on. And I'm not sure how difficult this would be. I don't think it would be to kind of just allow them to do some basic layout stuff in terms of resizing the images or the labels or whatnot, or putting them in the same line. We had intended to do that originally, but we haven't gotten around to that yet. I think that's a great idea.
That and also the explaining people how the CSV files work, because I spent 3 hours just doing that.
I'm sorry. I tried to get that to you sooner.
No, that's okay. Claudia talked to me as well, but I mean, I probably am not the only person who won't have any experience with CSV files. And we need to provide them, templates or explanations so that they can do this quickly and easily, because otherwise it's just going to be people are going to be very angry.
Yes, I agree. Cool. So Dilrich, let's talk about you were saying how the list had gotten too long on the right side. What alternatives could we do with that? We could maybe put them on the top and do icons and drop
one thing that I thought we can bring the side right hand side icons into the below below the canvas so that we can drag.
Just that actually what we may want to do is identify some examples just so we can, like, I'd like us to all look for a moment at what other sites have done. So, for example, if I were to share my screen, I don't think we have to copy that, but just as an example, this is Crowdflower. So there's some sort of like content and instructions. I find this one still very indirect, so I can add my data. So I can just be like, you know, author, and then cancel, or sorry, not cancel, and then I guess, what do I do? How do I, this was clearly confusing too. I guess that added it here. You can also add form elements, like a ratings thing. So I put it here, and then I can change. So this feels very similar, but it also does feel fairly indirect, right? So there it is, and then I can drag it around. This is, sorry?
What do you mean by indirect?
Well, I'm sort of popping around between the thing and this side panel.
Sure. Okay.
I'm not sure there's a better version. They have this code editor view, so that you can write what they call CML, which is their markup language. I don't know if we want to go there. Like having our own markup language seems not cool. I also want to point out, so if you look at the requester interface on Mechanical Turk, let's see. So if I create, let's take this guy and edit. So when you're designing the layout, you just type and you have like a WYSIWYG here, and you can just edit the source and then add scripts, and it's just a page. So that's another one. Can anyone think of other sites where this kind of authoring might happen, like where you're creating a simple HTML form?
I guess Google Docs, right? Or Google Forms. Or whatever.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's the tiny MCE as well, although that doesn't make it really easy. Yeah, so for I guess I can just go to Drive. So here, the new Google Forms, they've certainly tried to think really hard about, right?
Yeah.
Actually, one of my ex-students helped lead this redesign. So be like, new thing, I like things. So they have elements that you can just sort of very directly manipulate. And then you click Add, and you have a drop-down that tells you what it is. Right?
Right. So that's kind of similar. So we just don't have to drag. It just has the icons on the side, and you can just like add.
Yeah, and then you have the little handles that you can drag around.
And they also
Some
don't.
of these I like the Google. Go ahead.
They don't let you like put two things on the same line. They're very regimented, like we are currently.
That's true. Yeah, I think if you want two things on one line, we probably would, at that point, I'm okay with saying, you know, make it your own. I guess.
Like do your own WYSIWYG.
Yeah, like you know, host your own task and use an iframe. But I feel like of them, I like the Google Forms one the best. Like I'm always editing, like all of the options are sort of directly in line with the item.
Yeah.
And then there's a little thing here. I don't know. Do other people have opinions on which of these things they've liked so far?
How about the other panels that we get from the UX sites like drag and drop things?
What do you mean?
The UX pin and then you know just in time. They all have these drag and drop things.
Sorry, which sites do? I missed the subject of your sentence.
The drag and drop things, the UX pin site and the Just in Mind site and Envision
Just
site.
in Mind?
They all have panels.
Okay, so Just in Mind. Okay. I'll sign up. Why not? Whoa, 240 meg. Yeah, there's Sketch. I don't feel like Sketch really gives us what we want. I mean, Sketch would give us like a completely 2D canvas where you can put stuff around. I don't feel like that works well with HTML, so I'm not sure about that. Maybe we can just look at a video of Just in Mind.
I've used Just in Mind. It's pretty good for prototyping, but you do kind of a finished looking thing, so it does take some time. It's not a fast prototyping tool, but it does show you exactly how it's going to look like and function.
So it's a 2D layout tool, right?
Yeah, it's like a Photoshop that you can add actions to it. For example, you can add buttons. The buttons like show up pop-ups and go to the next pages, whatever.
Right.
But it's for prototyping. It's more like of a finished prototype when you want to send for someone to code, and then you can show exactly what's the kind of behavior that you want to appear on the screen.
The one thing I would note about this is that it has a sort of an always present properties window. I feel like that's one major design decision we have to make, is whether there's sort of a properties window that we keep active, and just sort of, and it's always reflecting whatever element has focus, or if like with Google Forms you do it inline on everything. So whenever it has focus, it pops up.
Right.
And renders differently.
I do like this one that you are showing from Stanford. This one, I think it's fairly simple. This one, the one that you have up now.
Oh, this is Google Docs.
Yeah, this is Google Docs, but I think this is like a design Google Docs thing, but it's pretty good. It works well. It's fairly easy, intuitive. Because the thing with Just in Mind is that it copies exactly the Photoshop layout, because designers use it and they know how to use Photoshop.
That's true.
This is more like of an everyone thing, kind of an easier interface.
They kind of
basically, go ahead.
It kind of fits with like our theme of material design. If we like do something very similar to what Google's doing.
Yeah, it's true.
Aside from the data source, we don't really need the properties side.
Well, we've used them a bit. So if I wait, is this me being a worker? I don't remember. All right, here we go. Design. So, like, yeah, it depends on what you call a property, because like the label text is a property, then we need it. Things like radio button options, those are properties.
But it feels weird that you'd have to type that in properties to begin with. Like, you should just be able to start typing as soon as you drag it over. Yeah,
so for them, it's... I don't know how hard this is to implement, but it certainly... It's direct manipulation, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's the thing that Google Docs, you're just giving general options and you're just getting the output, and we gotta give an input as well.
Yeah, I'm okay with having one. The one thing that we teach them, or that they need to know, is, if you can see my screen right now, if you want like something, it would be like, whatever we tell them. It's like bracket, worker name or something like that, or Mechanical Turk, it's like that, or whatever, 2 brackets, and then up at the top we say, insert, here's your list of things you can insert, and then we take it from there.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah. Mm.
And also then,
so it would still use. Go ahead.
If we can think of other ways that we can do other than the CSV file, that would be wonderful as well. We can design something without the CSV.
What are you? Okay, so you're talking about tasks that have inputs, right? But you want to use something other than a CSV?
Yes. What other methods that we can use? I mean, CSV is not the only method that we can input the data, right?
In principle, not. What other options are you thinking of?
That's a good question.
I mean, what I'm trying to get at is whether you're saying other CSV-like file formats like Excel, or
Yeah,
are you
Excel would
thinking?
be Excel would be familiar with the without the C.
So,
How? What do
yeah.
you think, Ranvina?
So I'm sure there are Python libraries that let us read an Excel file, but there is some challenges there. Like if they put in one that has like multiple sheets, like.
Well, then we'd have like, I think it doesn't matter what kind of input file is. We are gonna have to put like a mini tutorial for people to learn how to use it, people who are not familiar with it. And the less things people have to learn, the better, because most people are not very familiar with CSV. They're like, people are actually afraid of coding and using files that they are not used to.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps I think there is a point in what the Ruksha is saying, that if all you gotta do is just tell people, well, don't put an extra sheet in there, and that's the only problem you've got, then I think we're good.
Mm-hmm. So you're
Better
thinking,
than teaching from ground zero.
right? So okay, let's just try to articulate options. One is a CSV. Another is like accept any Excel file and assume that everyone and have to read it like a CSV. Like it has to have columns and rows, right? It can't be a random Excel thing with graphs on it.
Yeah.
Another is like Google spreadsheet. Like we just say, give us the URL of a Google spreadsheet and we suck it out of that. That would probably have privacy issues with many companies.
Yeah.
I can't think of other. I mean, we need something else. I'm trying to think if there's any intermediate option that gives us an intermediate option that gives us like that someone can just write directly into if they don't want to use a CSV.
Right, say they have like 4 columns or 4 rows or something. And they can just like,
yeah, is there like, can you embed a Google spreadsheet in a little window and be like, upload or just enter it here?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
The CSV thing is like, that's for like power users who have 1,000 things they need labeled or whatever.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
We could probably just do that below and then like pop out into like a form that they can fill out, and then like create the essential CSV on our end.
Yeah, I think that's a good option. To just have something that people can write directly there.
I'm not sure how relevant the Excel contribution would be. Like, if you're already using Excel and having 1,000 things, you're going to save it as a CSV.
Yeah, I guess. I think the problem. I'm not sure. I mean, we could swap to Excel as like a ready-to-use thing, but it seems like the problem is about the usability of the. Just like getting data in,
yeah.
And for that, it seems like you want something just whatever straightforward.
Also, it'd be nice for the prototype task if you like don't want to use actual data, you just like create 3 quick rows. Yeah, I like that idea.
So, I'm just thinking implementation for a moment. This is kind of nuts, but just playing this out. If you wanted to, you could. It looks like you could embed an editable Google Sheet. What we'd have to do is create some sort of account with Google on behalf of Demo, and then programmatically use their API to create a spreadsheet, and then change the sharing settings so that anyone with the link has access to edit, and then embed it in an iframe or something like that.
Sure.
So we could do it, presumably. It would be a bit of hacking, but we could do it.
Yeah. I was even thinking just like creating what looks like a spreadsheet that's really just a form. Right?
Yeah, I don't know what's easier or hard. Like I sort of feel like writing your own spreadsheet software is kind of hard.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not
and like
sure.
saving it and that kind of stuff.
I mean, we'd just be like saving it as the result of their form addition.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know which would be.
Just
Anyways,
a
go ahead.
question. If people just write directly on the design area, don't do any kind of spreadsheet, how do they get the output? Is a spreadsheet created for the results of what they made,
Yeah.
just like Google Forms? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we would just continue to generate a CSV. The nice thing about generating CSVs is that anyone who has Excel installed, Excel automatically knows that it can read CSVs, so it'll just pop open.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be for a different week, redesigning that.
So then I guess we don't need to go through all of this. If the person has like very few things, they can just like design a task, write it directly there, and maybe just give them options, oh, choose randomly between one of these fours, and then can just write it on the side, on the properties tab, all the four options, and then make a tutorial if you have for a how to make a CSV files, and give them a template if you have like much more than that, and they can choose.
Yeah, so you could have one page in the setup flow that says like, if you have data, here's a spreadsheet, or there's like a droppable region that says, or drag a file here, and you sort of pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So it seems like, one major design change that's being proposed is an inline data entry where we sort of use the Google API to generate a spreadsheet and embed it, and since we've generated the spreadsheet, we know the link, so we can later slurp up the data from it. And the other is some sort of more Google Forms style authoring environment. So it looks major difference between forms is that all of the properties are like appear inline when you click on an item, as opposed to being persistent on the right. The alternative would be to have like a set of to split out the tabs and have the library on the left and the properties persistent on the right.
We could do that. I think it will be a good solution.
Or you could lay them out vertically, sort of, properties on top and library underneath or something, or library on top and properties underneath.
Yeah, I think if it's left, right, or top, bottom, we can choose that later. But it's good that you have like a consistent place where this is where the properties go, and this is where you choose what you're doing.
I think it's kind of cool though, like how Google Forms just has it right in line.
Yeah, I don't know how hard that would be to implement.
Well, I'm not really sure what would be the issue.
Well, you have to catch focus, and then when you catch focus, you have to flip it out for the edited version. It's probably feasible.
Yeah.
Especially if Angular's keeping the data model in sync for you. Then whenever it loses focus, it just re-renders the static version, right?
Right. And like, I'm pretty sure Google just uses like their Angular material design or something very close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can talk to Derm about that and see how feasible that would be, or something too as well.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And so,
So what do we do from here?
Do you think we should cut down? Sorry, this is one more question before what we do from here. Do you think we should cut down the number of options on the right side?
Yes.
Okay.
You mean in the properties window?
Or is not the properties in the library?
Oh, maybe. Although I wouldn't call that my highest priority. I feel like that's better designed than other stuff.
Okay. So yeah, I think what we could do from here is if people have interest, maybe we could just do like a quick sketch of like how we would see us kind of transitioning to this like more Google Form style thing and having this embedded spreadsheet. And then we could, compare, see what we like, maybe synthesize a design that works kind of well between all the different proposals. And I mean, it would be good if you if we give examples like if you have a label, this is what happens. If you have like an iframe, this is what happens. And we could kind of just take it. I mean, it shouldn't take too long, just like that. And then I think that'd be pretty cool. We could see where we go from there. What do you guys think? Or do you think we should just like start building it? I don't know.
Well, I think doing sketches or a mock would be really helpful.
Okay. And do you think that's better individually or otherwise?
Say that again?
Do you think it'd be better to do that like individually or as like a group trying to make a sketch together?
I think it depends on your own motivations. If this group is a bunch of people who do best, working together on a shared Google presentation interface, then that's totally reasonable. And if people prefer to just go off on their own and work on it, also reasonable.
I think let's create a Google Doc and work on it.
Okay.
A presentation, you mean?
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Anything else before we kind of split off into that mode? Cool. Alrighty. I guess we could work on this now for a little bit.
All right. So I'm gonna have to pop off to work on another paper then. I'll be back later.
All right. Let's switch that to.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a power cut. What's the context now?
Oh, no worries. So I think we're kind of like wrapping up that section, and now we're going to kind of just work together to create like a mock of what we're thinking.
Okay, so we come up with the sketches and then work from there, is it?
Well, yeah. The question is, do you think we should do it like all together, or should we do it individually? Carolina said she wanted to do it together, but then she just dropped off, so I'm not sure exactly what exactly for. But yeah. You guys hear that sound? That's not me, right?
Who's it's Kamal. I'm trying to educate myself. That's not me. Okay. Good one, Kamal. Too late. I'm going to stop the broadcasting now, so it doesn't need to have broadcasting.